I thought I would make a quick little video just to share with someone out there. Maybe you're watching this video and you're trying to decide whether or not you should buy a course online in order to become an inbound closer, all this kind of stuff. And maybe you're in financial duress. Maybe you don't have a lot of room on your credit card and all this kind of stuff. Maybe things are just really, really tight. I just want to give you a little bit of hope and share with you that it is not the end of the world. If your credit cards are all maxed out, and I've been there before, honestly, I've been there before. I've had to sit down with the bank and ask them, beg them, say, look, my finances are a mess. How can I get a credit card? And I did this about 5 years ago. I couldn't get a credit card. I couldn't even get a prepaid credit card. That's how bad it was. I remember going to a hotel with my wife, and I had a prepaid credit card, a Royal Bank prepaid Visa credit card. And I remember them looking down at the card, looking at me, looking down at the card and going, yeah, we can't use this. You can't book a hotel room with this. And it was a fancy hotel in Banff. I was so embarrassed. So I called up my daughter, borrowed her credit card number over the phone so that I could get a hotel room with my wife. How embarrassing. So then I booked an appointment with my banker and I said, look, I need a credit card. How can I do this? I know my credit score is crap. How can I do this? It's through the tank. Part of the reason why I got into that mess was I bought a couple of homes in another town, and one of them had a little tiny grow op in it in the basement. And I had to foreclose on that home. It was almost a brand new home. They were the best renters on the planet. They paid on time. I ended up eating it for both of those homes because the police came in, called me on April Fool's Day. I hung up on them a couple of times. I thought it was a joke from a friend. Yeah, I have friends like that. Anyways, yeah, the mortgage, I had to throw the keys back at the mortgage company because I lost both those homes. They were calling me relentless 7 days a week. Felt like Saturdays too. They didn't call me Sundays, but they called me Saturdays. Calling me, do you think maybe you can come up with like $40,000, $60,000? And every time the mortgage came up, which was $2,200, the total mortgage was $400,000, just so you know. But they're asking for ridiculous amounts of lump sums. They wanted like 20 grand, 40 grand, all this stuff. And the payments were like $2,200. So what would happen is the bank would take money out. I would get paid from some of my other businesses, and they would come in and scoop that money out, and there'd be nothing in the bank for food, water, living expenses. There would be zero, zilcho. I'd have nothing for food. And again, this was only like, this would have been about 10 years ago when this nightmare happened. Had no money. So what they would do is they would try and take more money out every time. And if I had no money in the bank, I would get hit with a $200 penalty every time. Sometimes they would do that 3 times in one day. Every day. $200 a pop every day. I had credit card companies calling me every day. They call me Saturday all the time. We have to disconnect our house phone. So I know what it's like to be in debt, crazy amounts of debt. And I couldn't get a credit card, nothing. So then, long story short, went to my bank. She said, if you do this, do what I say, you will get yourself out of this mess. So I said, okay. She said, apply to Capital One, get a prepaid credit card. This one is a different one. I forget what it's called. Can't remember. But basically, you put $1,000 on it and a secured credit card. All the other credit cards were unsecured credit cards. This one was a secured credit card. Strange thing is, I didn't have to put any money. Capital One said, here you go, here's $500. So I started with that. I started with $500, a credit card, and it was supposed to be a secured card, but for whatever reason, they didn't ask me for a nickel. Activated it. I still remember it like yesterday. And used it for a year, and then they increased the credit to 1,000, which was phenomenal. It was fantastic. Then I did something crazy. I started applying for other credit cards because my score was starting to go up. And what I was doing was, I have all kinds of strategies, but I was maxing out the credit card and then paying it off. So I'd wait 21 days and then I pay it off. So that way it looked like I needed to use that limit, and then I would pay it off to zero. And I kept doing that, and eventually I think I have 13, 14 credit cards right now. And I went back to the bank 5 years later, and I said, I would like to buy a home. And they looked up my credit report, and because it had already been 5 years, they didn't really pay attention to the other credit cards that I had that were delinquent. And I had to negotiate my way out of hell to pay down those credit cards. And it's amazing. Credit card companies will work with you if you call them back and deal with them. They will work with you. That's my little piece of advice. Anyways, like I said, I got like 12, 15 credit cards now. And they said, wow, it looks like, Shane, it looks like you don't like to be in debt. You pay off all your credit cards on time, blah, blah, blah. So they gave me a mortgage for this home that I'm in right now. And this is the first time I was able to buy a house. And this was like 2-3 years ago. First time I was able to buy a house in my entire life, because I was always renting, and I saved $500 a month with my mortgage payments because I bought a house instead of renting. So I was paying $2,300 a month renting, throwing my money out, and then I ended up getting a mortgage for $1,800. And we bought a car, brand new car for my wife. I know Dave Ramsey would be just shuddering right now going, oh, don't do that. But I wanted to buy my wife a new car. So bought her a brand new car. We do payments on that. Have a mortgage on my house, all this kind of stuff. The important thing is to negotiate. And with the pandemic and all this kind of stuff, you can talk to companies like Capital One. Use Credit Karma. Apply for a credit card. You can get some that are 22% interest, whatever. If times are hard and maybe you can't pay off your credit card, don't worry about it. It's non-secured credit card, which means they can't go after you. Okay? Negotiate. Talk to them. Let them know that you're in hard times and all this kind of stuff. I've been through stories where I've actually negotiated my way, where maybe this is where some of sales training comes in the past, with dealing with life insurance and all this kind of stuff, because I used to sell all that stuff, used to sell energy contracts, all that. But you can actually negotiate on your terms what you want to pay the credit card company with sometimes 0% interest. Yeah, 0%. So imagine owing money on a credit card company and negotiating with them and just saying, hey, you know what? Here's what you're going to get. Here's the money you're going to get, and that's it. Here's your monthly payment. I'm going to pay it off in 5 years, whatever it is, and I don't want any interest on the credit card. 0. And I want my credit score to go back up. You can tell them this. I'm telling you, I'm telling you what to do. You can actually negotiate your credit score. Unbelievable. How do you think I got into a house? How do you think I got a car when I couldn't even get a prepaid credit card? You negotiate your way out of all this stuff. So I just said, hey, put my credit score back up to 700. I said, hey, I don't want to pay any interest till I pay it off. All that kind of stuff. You can negotiate anything you want. So I hope this video has inspired somebody to say, hey, you know what? If you're getting into a little bit of debt into buying these courses here and there and that kind of stuff, it's not the end of the world. You just have to pay it off. Just take your time. Get it all paid. You're going to start generating some income. And then you can pay it all off, all that good stuff. It's not the end of the world. I've been at the end of the world and back. I've lost homes. I've Went to McDonald's, shaking like a leaf because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to buy a meal at McDonald's. So, yeah, hopefully that helps one person out there on this planet to just give you a little bit of hope. Don't take a beating from these creditors and stuff, man. Don't take a beating. The only ones that you have to worry about is the government, and it might be different in the US, but in Canada, you gotta pay your taxes, you gotta pay GST, and you have to pay your phone bills. Oh my Lord. Like, do not be less than a few days early on paying your phone bill. If you are paying your phone bill on time, like you think it's on time, you pay it on the day it's due, you're late, and they'll submit it to the credit card company. I know, because I don't know, I think it was like 5-10 years ago, I was with Fido, and I owed $10, and they put it on the credit card report, and I think I lost like 20 points, 30 points on my credit score, because it used to be my daughter's account, and I was paying for her phone, her cell phone, until she moved out, and then we transferred it. I thought the account had closed, and she took over the bill when she bought her own home, moved into her own home, and all this kind of stuff. And I get a credit slap because I owed $10 on this, and they submitted it to the credit report, the credit bureau. They couldn't even call me and say, hey, I understand you closed the account, but there was $10. I would have just paid that. Anyways, phone companies, they're brutal. They're savages. They really are savages. So I apologize if this is a bit of a rant. So hopefully this helps one person out there to give them some hope. Thanks for watching. See you in another video. Bye for now.